Hafiz, literally meaning guardian or memorizer, depending on the context, is a term used by Muslims for someone who has completely memorized the Quran. Hafiza is the female equivalent. History. The Islamic prophet Muhammad lived in the 6th century CE, in Arabia in a time when few people were literate. The Arabs preserved the histories, genealogies, and poetry by memory alone. According to countless books of history, when Muhammad proclaimed the verses later collected as a Quran, his followers naturally preserved the words by memorizing them. Approximately 18 months after the death of the prophet, the entire Quran was written down by his companions. Anywhere from 10,000 to 150,000 had it memorized perfectly at the time of its inscription, ensuring the authenticity of Al-Quran. The Arabic writing of the time was a non-marked script that did not include vowel markings or other diacritics needed to distinguish between words. Hence, if there was any question as to the pronunciation of a verse, the memorized verses were a better source than the written ones. The Hufas were also highly appreciated as reciters, whose intoned words were accessible even to the illiterate. Memorization required no expensive materials. At the time there was no paper in the Muslim world, only vellum. Even after Caliph Uthman ibn Affan collected and organized the Quran circa 650–656 CE, recitation of the Quran was still honored and encouraged. There are numerous traditions of recitation. Most Hafaz know only one version, but true experts can recite in several traditions. However, this does not change the meaning of the content. Study. The Quran is divided into 114 surahs, containing 6,236 verses. This process generally takes between 3 and 6 years part-time together with schooling. Most Hafaz have studied as children in special Islamic schools or madrasas, being instructed in tajweed and vocalization as well as committing the Quran to memory. Hafaz are highly respected within the Islamic community. They are privileged to use the title Hafiz before the names. They are tested on the knowledge. For example, in one test they are asked to continue the recitation of a passage taken randomly from the Quran. As they do not know which passage will be chosen, they must know the whole text in order to be sure of passing. In another test, a would-be Hafiz might be asked to recite verses containing a specific word or phrase. Etymology. In the classical Arabic lexicon, the word Hafiz was not traditionally used to refer to one who had memorized the Quran. Instead, the word used was Hamil. Hafiz was used from the scholars of Hadith, specifically one who had committed 100,000 hadiths to memory. The Quran is distinct from the recorded sayings and deeds which have traditionally been ascribed to Muhammad, which are instead preserved in a separate set of literature collectively called the Ahadith. Practice. Having memorized the Quran, the Hafiza must then ensure they do not forget it. To ensure a perfect recall of all the learned verses requires constant practice. The memorization of the Quran was important to Muslims in the past and is also in the present. Yearly, thousands of students master the Quran and complete the book with interpretation and also memorization. The Quran is perhaps the only book, religious or secular, that has been memorized completely by millions of people. For Muslims who are attempting to memorize certain surahs but are unfamiliar with the Arabic script, the ulama have made various elucidations. There are mixed opinions on the usage of romanization of Arabic due to concerns about mispronunciations. Higher approval of writing systems with close consonantal and vocalic equivalents to classical Arabic are relevant and effective diacritics, and a preference for Quran tutors or recorded recitations from Qaris or any device with clear audible sound storage technology, such as CDs or cassettes. The most important surah to memorize is Al-Fatiha. For individuals with dyslexia or other learning difficulties, it is sufficient to alternatively say, Subhanallah, Alhamdulillah, the Shahada, the Takbir, the Hawkala, respectively, meaning exalted and perfect is Allah. All praise and thanks be to Allah. There is none worthy of worship except Allah. Allah is the greatest. There is no power or might except in Allah.